This is 6 Minutes, the Seriously International Daily Newscast. It's Thursday, February 6th, and I'm Jacob Shropshire.
And I'm Anne-Sophie Goninet. The sun is setting in Pyongyang while it's just coming up in Havana. With grey skies outside the Worldcrunch newsroom, it's just after midday here in Paris. These are the latest headlines. Israel orders its army to prepare for Gaza residents' voluntary departure. January sets a heat record despite forecasts for a cooler 2025. And our daily quiz question comes to us from Australian scientists. Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz ordered the army on Thursday to prepare a plan to allow the, quote, voluntary departure of residents from Gaza. This came after US President Donald Trump's stunning announcement that the US would aim to take control of the coastal enclave and transform it into a resort destination. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the proposal to resettle Gaza's population would only be temporary after pushback from key Middle East nations and widespread global condemnation.
The Panama Canal Authority on Wednesday denied making changes to allow U.S. government vessels to transit the Panama Canal for free after the U.S. State Department claimed it had agreed to such a move. The Panama Canal, one of the busiest trade passages in the world, has become a focal point of the Trump administration, with the new U.S. president repeatedly voicing his desire to retake control of the waterway. Thousands of protesters in Bangladesh have demolished and set fire to the home of deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on Wednesday evening. The attack was triggered by news that Hasina would give a speech online to supporters from exile in neighboring India, where she fled last August after a deadly student-led uprising against her 15-year rule.
Last month was the world's warmest January on record. The Copernicus Climate Change Service reported on Thursday that temperatures were 1.75 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Climate scientists had expected January 2025 to be cooler after a warming El Niño event peaked in January 2024 and conditions gradually shifted to an opposing cooling La Niña phase. Now let's take a closer look at what the international press is covering.
Die Tageszeitung devoted its front page to Trump's shocking plans to take over Gaza. The German daily juxtaposed the headline, Trump-esque Riviera, with dramatic photos of scenes of rubble in Gaza. Much of the African press is covering pushback from the Congolese government after M23 rebels broke their own unilateral ceasefire by launching a new armed offensive this morning. The rebel group has also been heavily supported by Rwanda, and security sources have said Rwandan troops are involved in this new offensive. New estimates say at least 3,000 people have been killed in the eastern city of Goma in the latest battles.
We have a personal essay from Lebanese writer Badia Fass about her experiences as a woman who wears the traditional Muslim hijab headscarf while advocating for the right of women to choose whether or not to wear one. Jacob, walk us through this story.
Writing in Beirut-based Daraj, Faz explains the difference between her personal choice and those who impose choices on others. She writes, "I have never thought of removing my hijab, nor has it ever been an obstacle in my professional life. I have embraced my hijab and grown to love it to the point that it feels like a part of my body, something I cannot do without. But that has not stopped me from questioning the reasons behind its imposition on Muslim women, including myself." She writes, "After much contemplation, I have come to realize that it is the first step towards suppressing women and confiscating their opinions and freedoms. This is not a repetition of contemporary feminist cliches or a response to movements concerned only with external appearances. Rather, it is the result of observing the conditions and struggles of Muslim women from birth until death. Ultimately, whether a Muslim woman wears a hijab or not, she continues to pay the price of a patriarchal interpretation of Islamic dress codes, sacrificing her personal freedom in the process. Only when those influences disappear will we know whether a hijab is a personal conviction or an imposed condition."
And in Argentine daily Clarín, we have a piece on the latest research around loneliness. The writer notes that being alone is objective, but feeling lonely is a bit more fuzzy. Research shows that loneliness can cause mental and physical ailments. Conversely, feeling needed seems to be correlated with living longer. We're closing things out today with our daily quiz question, which comes to us from the land down under. For the first time, Australian scientists have produced an embryo through in vitro fertilization of what marsupial? Is it A koala, B, a kangaroo, C, a Tasmanian devil, or D, a shrimp? The correct answer is B. Australian scientists use specimens from eastern grey kangaroos to create the world's first kangaroo embryo through IVF. The breakthrough provides important insights into marsupial breeding and could aid efforts to improve the genetic diversity of endangered species, as Australia suffers from the world's highest rate of mammal extinctions.
That's the latest from around the world. If you liked this podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could help us out with a follow, a share, and a 5-star rating on your preferred podcasting platform. For more of the best of the international press delivered exclusively in English every day, visit us at worldcrunch.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. À demain.